Okay, well, it's that time. I mean, you can see it behind me. It's cereal time. We got a whole lineup of cereals we're gonna try today. Lots of special editions or newly reintroduced cereals. And I'm gonna rate them, and we're gonna see how it goes. Despite the fact that these multiple YouTube videos happen, I don't actually have cereal that often. I basically only have them when I do these streams, and I treat it like a cheat day, if you're familiar with that terminology from diets or fitness or whatever. This is my cheat day, and I use it for stream, for you watching. The general rule of the cereal stream is we try it dry, and then we try it with some milk. First off, we're gonna start with Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, this is obviously related to the movie Ghostbusters Afterlife that came out. Despite probably no one mentioning it to you, no, I've literally not known anyone that has seen the movie. And I don't even really know what happens in the movie, because I haven't seen it, and I don't plan to see it. I imagine it's bad. So, who cares about that? Because we care about the cereal. It looks like a generic sort of movie, you know, whatever, cereal where it's got some puffs of corn puffs, and then there's some marshmallows, and these are apparently fruity flavored. It's pretty boring. Now, I understand that the white pieces here are Ghost. That makes sense. No one knows what these blue things are. Is it just supposed to be like an ectoplasm kind of a thing? I have no clue. But the real first test is the sniff. You gotta get that pack fresh sniff, you know? Yeah, that's fruity. That's fruity, all right. I can't really discern what fruit it's supposed to be, but it is fruity. They're just little orange corn puff things. It really does not matter. And then the comparison with the marshmallows. Let's get that going. Boom. They're not too much different in size. They're pretty much, the marshmallows are about the same size as the puffs. It's not anything special. Try a handful of this, the puffs plus the marshmallows. Definitely fruity. Definitely marshmallowy. It's not bad. It's basically just what I expect. It's like a fruity thing, and then the marshmallows are there to be marshmallows. Pretty average, run-of-the-mill, generic cereal with Marbits, and yeah, I don't know. I think the first couple cereals, score-wise, they can kind of get changed near the end. So let's just not waste too much time here. Let's just throw in like a nice sort of fine, not crazy. I wouldn't really eat most cereal that is sugary and whatnot dry anyway. So and marshmallows dry has never been my thing. So I'm just gonna go with like a 5. That might even be generous. But we're gonna throw it there for now. We'll see. We'll throw it there for now. And then let's get this milk going. Okay. All right. What do we got? The fruit flavor is much milder now. Makes sense. The milk comes into effect. Just a very generic. These type of cereals, movie or product tie-ins, are often not anything special, and often almost repeated by both General Mills and Kellogg's. The milk really did make this a much milder taste. I honestly feel like this is just the most generic, most baseline cereal with a movie tie-in or a product tie-in type of deal. I'm just gonna go for 5-5. And we can come back to these because we're early on, so we gotta kind of calibrate, right? We gotta calibrate. Next, we're gonna go from one movie to the next with LeBron James in Space Jam: A New Legacy, which is also supposedly an awful movie. Looks familiar, don't you think? Little circly spherical puffs with some marshmallows. General Mills. You see a theme here? Movie tie-in cereals are boring. Berry flavored with marshmallows. So this is the average size of one of the pieces. This marshmallow piece, which is about the same size, a little bit bigger. And then I'm gonna compare that to the basketball. And again, similar size, but the basketball is thinner. So there's that. Let's give this a sniff. Definitely tastes fruity. And let's do a handful of dry and see how that goes. ASMR, ASMR. This sort of reminds me in a little bit of the Pokemon cereal from the very first cereal stream, but even a little bit less flavorful. And I did just have a handful of just the pieces without the marshmallow, and not nearly as much going on if you do that. The marshmallow carries for sure. I honestly think this is basically the same as this. I'll give it a 4.5 because it felt like it had even less flavor than the Ghostbusters one, but it might be better milk. Let's get a couple spoonfuls, eh? Very generic, very much the same idea as the Ghostbusters Afterlife, where it basically is just, it feels like I'm just eating nothing. Not in terms of flavor wise, but just like feels so like a waste of eating. Spiritually, it feels like I'm eating cardboard. With both this and the Ghostbusters. Spiritually, it feels like I'm eating cardboard. Because it feels like there's no soul. Purely made to advertise a movie and not actually care about how it tastes or like making it interesting. A wise Celtics fan once said on a t-shirt that LeBron is a bitch. So I'll just make his score slightly lower. I'll just go 4.5 again. You know what? Yeah. Take that, LeBron. Go support China or something. Maybe sell these to China. You like China so much, don't you, LeBron? Okay? All right. And next, we're keeping with a train of themes here. I've made this order very much on purpose. We went movie to movie. Second movie, basketball star. Next cereal, and also a previous basketball star. That's right, Shaquille O'Neal. Teaming up with Tony the Tiger. Frosted Flakes with crispy cinnamon basketball puff thingies. Look at him. Apparently now Tony the Tiger is 7'6" or however tall Shaq is. He's a little bit shorter. They're almost the same height though. You might think like, oh, he just went to the grocery store, bought all these cereals at once. No, you're wrong. Literal months. Multiple months of obtaining all of these to bring them together at one time to you. The puffs, I will say, are bigger than what the LeBron and Ghostbusters puffs were. Slightly bigger. It was good? Question mark? The cinnamon was stronger than I thought it would be. I guess just dry Frosted Flakes feels like a weird thing anyway. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Dry Frosted Flakes is a weird thing. And the cinnamon's good, but like it's still dried Frosted Flakes, and that's just a weird thing to do. Again, we may come back, we'll see. But for now, let's just go with like a 3.5 for dry. It's dry. Dry doesn't, no one gives a shit about dry. We care about the milk. Yeah, all right. It's good. I like it. The cinnamon is certainly lessened because of the milk. That makes sense. That's just how it works. But I sort of like it with just the light amount. Also, just to mention, why did this happen now? It's not like Shaq's like in a movie or still playing. Obviously, Shaq is Shaq. Like he's you know, Shaq Attack. He's on ESPN. Is it ESPN or Sports Center? Doesn't matter. The point is, Shaq Attack. Now a snack, and pretty good. He's doing like a mini pog there, like a little bit of a pog, so that's great. Yeah, it just kind of spices it up a little. Just kind of spices it up. I like it. 7.5? Maybe? Maybe? I don't know. I might even go 8. I'm not sure. Next, think about what we just did. Frosted Flakes with cinnamon basketballs. And we went movie to movie, basketball to basketball. Now, basketball to basketball, but also cinnamon frosted flakes. So now we're going cinnamon frosted flakes to limited edition mashups frosted flakes plus Apple Jacks. What are Apple Jacks? Kind of got some cinnamon stuff in there with the cinnamon. So, cinnamon with frosted flakes, now going to cinnamon with frosted flakes. Are you seeing this? I'm making these decisions on purpose. I'm a genius. Okay, my only concern with frosted flakes Apple Jacks is the MTS, the milk to soggy ratio. That's right. If you have a full bowl of this cereal, right? Because I've only had little bits of these cereals with milk in them. If you have a full bowl, when you get to the end of the bowl, you know, some of the end of it might be a little bit more soggy than at the beginning. And if you have two different cereals mixed together with different MTS profiles and ratios, you may have a bad time. And that's what I would be most concerned about here. Because my guess, just, you know, my natural cereal knowledge, is that, you know, Frosted Flakes have a quicker milk to soggy ratio because they're a flake compared to that of a puff of Apple Jacks. It is what it is. It's Apple Jacks with Frosted Flakes in it. You know what that is. You know what those two cereals are. If you don't, how are you watching this video? That doesn't even make sense. How are you here? Why are you here? Why don't you not know what Frosted Flakes is? We just had a cereal with Frosted Flakes. Why don't you know what Apple Jacks is? It's very popular. Dry. I really feel like I don't even need to try this, but for the sake of, you know, science, I don't know why, but I feel like I liked it more than the Shaq's one dry. Not by much, because it's still Frosted Flakes dry is kind of whack. Apple Jacks not in Sweden? Okay. Alright, non-NA, I get that. That makes sense. Okay. Not coming at you for that. That is not your fault. But if you're NA, you should know what Apple Jacks is. Honestly, these dry ratings might be a little high. These might have to all come down like a full point. Let's get the milk in here though. Now here's the other thing, right? We didn't need them to come up with a box to do this. Literally just buy a box of both and do it yourself. There's literally no reason to need to buy a box of this, but it's okay. It's still good. I don't see. It's interesting because, right, this is in theory pretty much the same thing as this, and I like both, but I don't know. I just don't know if I can rate one over the other, and I don't know if that is a Apple Jacks previous lifetime bias / used to tasting Apple Jacks. My instinct is to say I like this more, but there's a part of me that feels guilty for saying that because the basketballs are cooler and Shaq's cooler. Both very much same ballpark as we expected because they're literally the same idea of Frosted Flakes plus something that is cinnamon-y. Therefore, I will give it a cinnamon-y same score. So I will go 7.5, and then for funsies and saying that Shaq is great, we'll give him an 8 because Shaq is great, and that means 8. Now, here's where things take a little bit of a turn because we've been thematically from one thing, or not thematically, but you know, tangentially from one cereal to the next, right? Movie to movie, basketball to basketball, cinnamon plus Frosted Flakes to cinnamon plus Frosted Flakes. Blue box to blue box, also kind of lame, not really that great. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I'm using this mainly because we have like 2 more cinnamon related cereals and I need a palate cleanser. That's really why I'm doing this in this order. That's why this guy's here. Let's just get into it. I believe, this is what I believe is the case, is that these berries, or that these stars will basically be like crunch berries, and if you had like an oops all berries type of situation. So I will say right off the bat, these are kind of big. These are kind of big. Anyway, yeah, they're stars. Let's have some dry pieces. We expect this to basically just be like oops all berries. It is. This is just oops all berries. I almost feel like I don't even need to eat this. I've been a decent fan of Crunch berries, like Captain Crunch with the berries. But oops all berries itself has never been my thing. I always thought that was a little too much. You need sort of the regular Captain Crunch pieces to sort of level things out. So here we go. All right, dry. I've never been a fan of that. You know, these scores are all gonna come down. If I'm gonna be honest, all these scores are gonna come down by at least 1, if not 2 points in the dry column. This is just unnecessary. These are way too high. These are way too high for dry scores. We'll bring them all down. Let's just go, I don't know, 4. I feel like it should be the same as these. And then with milk. Oh, also, I wanted to mention, this is some lore. Speaking of lore, right? Let me just show you something. There was word that there was a similar previously made cereal called Freedom Crunch. Box art look familiar. You see that pose? You see that pose? Literally the same pose, just the shapes and stuff are in it different. And so this picture came out, people knew about it, but then it never came out. No one saw it anywhere, right? It was like not a thing. It didn't come out anywhere. Or did it? Turns out, in Minnesota, some dude got a handle of in one random place in Minnesota and got all of the boxes of it. So that's weird. And you know what's even more weird? There is an official Freedom Crunch t-shirt. Officially licensed. But this cereal never came out anywhere else. Besides that one Minnesota thing. And instead, we got this. Instead, we got this. What happened? Why did it change to red, white, and blue? Why did it not stay Freedom Crunch? Why did it only come out in Minnesota? Why is there a shirt for the one that didn't come out anywhere except Minnesota? I don't know. There's something going on, though. Something going on. Oops All Berries has never been my thing. I'm gonna go 6. It wasn't bad, right? It was fine. I don't think it deserves a 7 compared to these. Like, it's definitely better than Ghostbusters. Maybe 6.5 for now. Maybe 6.5 for now. It's just, yeah, it's whatever. Next, we're going back to Cinnamon Land. Not with Cinnamon Cheerios. We're starting with Apple Cinnamon Chex. Apple Cinnamon Chex, not Chex. Chex. The question is whether or not this is too cinnamony, not enough cinnamon-y, good at all. I will say though, I don't have cereal on the regular anymore because it's generally just not a great option health-wise. This and the Apple Cinnamon Cheerios, probably of the ones having today, on the healthier side among them. So if between all of the cereals I had to eat one for every day for breakfast, probably would either be this or that, just based on the fact that it's Chex and Cheerios and they're probably less crazy. So from the previous cinnamon cereals we had, right, with the basketballs and the mashup, previously we had the basketballs had some, you know, some sort of coloring on it that was related to being the cinnamon. The Apple Jacks were the Apple Jacks, but here we have both some regular Rice Chex pieces, right? Nothing special about it. They're just regular Rice Chex pieces. But then you have the cinnamonized pieces, which might be hard to tell. probably going to be almost impossible to tell. Let's see. In the box, you see the top and bottom one have they have like that cinnamon layer, and then the left and right one are a regular Chex. So it's like more bland. Even in the bowl itself, you might be able to see like, oh yeah, there you go. See all the little dots, the little specks? That's from powder. That is cinnamon powder or whatever. You know, think like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, how it's very powdery and whatnot. That is what that stuff is. Extremely surprised by the appley taste that I'm getting from that. I was not expecting that to be so appley. The cinnamon's there, of course, but the more surprising part is the apple. This has to be the best dry so far. Now, it's not the best dry in some circumstances because there's like the powder on your hands or whatever, but in terms of like the actual just the eating it and tasting good, these numbers have to all come down. You know what? I'm gonna do it now. Everyone's getting a -1. Everyone's getting a -1. That'll just be a 3. That'll be a 3. That'll be a 3. That'll be a 6. Yeah, that seems better to me. Like this is like they need to stand. This needs to stand out. Needs to stand out. You know what? 3.5 here. Fuck it. Dry sucks. We need dries to be very low, except when it's not. Yeah, Chex historically godlike dry. You know, part of rice Chex mix. That's like a whole brand of stuff. Yeah, the apple cinnamon combo makes it really great. It's great. Could definitely see you making your own Chex mix and throwing these in instead. You know, we talked about how it had the powder like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And if you're familiar with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you would know once the milk comes in, you know, a lot of that powder transfers over. A lot of that powder transfers over to the milk. You lose a bit of the flavor. It lessens the flavor, sure, but personally, because I'm old man status, I like it being lessened. It makes it much more reasonable to be something that you could eat regularly and not feel awful about, because you wouldn't feel like you're eating absolute garbage. You know, you're just eating some stuff with got a little bit of flavor in it, you know, old man mode is doing something like having oatmeal and then sprinkling a little bit of brown sugar or something on it, right? Just to make it not completely plain, but still generally healthy and good for you. That's kind of what this, once you get the milk in, that's kind of what you get. Where you get that, okay, it's got a little bit of something. Here's the greatest lie that everyone's ever told you in regards to eating milk. You don't need to drink the milk at the end. You probably shouldn't. Oh, but it's wasteful. Whatever. You would pee it out at the end anyway. Does it really make a difference? Now, if you're pounding milk and pounding cereal, then pour a little bit less milk. But, you know, if you just have a slight bit of milk at the end, you know, and imagine you had a full bowl and you have just a little bit of milk at the end like this. Drinking that is literally just drinking sugar. Don't do it. Don't give in. Okay? You don't need to. You get plenty of milk from the spoonfills. I almost liked it better, you know, man, because I was just giving it so much praise, being with the milk and less, but at the same time, there was more flavor and fire when it was dry. The cinnamon kicks better dry, which almost makes me want to just go like boom, 7, boom, 6. Is that crazy? This almost feels too high now. I was never a big oops all berries. Yeah, I like that better. Well, put it above LeBron. Fuck LeBron. We are going from apple cinnamon Chex to apple cinnamon Cheerios. The battle of the apple cinnamons. Who will come out on top? My guess is that milked Cheerios will come out on top. Dry might be Chex. Oh, also, secret move, if you want to open up your cereal box and have it not like rip halfway through, take your spoon, slip it in, and then there's your pro tip. With the Cheerios, you could basically just picture that it looks like almost like a honey nut Cheerios in terms of like being a Cheerio, but then having like it looks like it has a glaze of some kind on it. That's sort of where we're going. This apple cinnamon Cheerios existed previously. I don't remember when it got discontinued. I looked up the date of when it came out, and it came out in 1989. What? I didn't know it was that old. Shit. 1989? Just like that. Apple cinnamon Cheerios. 1989. Look at this. All sorts of history. It's been around, and then now it's back. And I maybe have had it before. I honestly don't remember, so I'm just gonna assume I didn't. But here we go. Okay. So as I said, similar. The way that it was similar looking to a Honey Nut Cheerio in terms of looking like it's kind of glazed and whatnot, definitely true. However, a lot of the taste feels like it's baked in. Feels like it's baked into the pieces, rather than just, you know, the Chex were more of a, you know, just the powder and whatnot. It's weird because in some ways it feels like it's stronger than the Chex, but then in other ways it doesn't. I don't even know how that works. Okay. Here's what I gotta say about this. In terms of dry, we're always used to thinking about Chex being in trail mix, Chex mix, whatever the fuck mix. Cheerios, not really a thing that is in mixes that often in the same way. Why is that? Why aren't we seeing people throwing Honey Nut Cheerios in mixes like that? I feel like that should just be a thing. And this would be a perfect thing to throw into that too. I think they're both fantastic. I think they're both really good dry, but I think they also offer different things. Chex Apple Cinnamon has a much different profile, right? It's got that cinnamon toast crunch, cinnamon powder shit going on. It feels to me that it has a higher cinnamon kick. I don't even know what the word is for this, for the apple cinnamon Cheerios. It just feels more complete. Does that make sense? It might just be like the oats. Honestly, it might just be the oats part of it and being baked in. And for that reason, I'm gonna also give this a 7. Honestly, I might slightly give it to Cheerios, because I think when you have the apple cinnamon Cheerios dry, you don't get cinnamon powder on your hands, but I will say your hands will get a little bit sticky because there is definitely, you know, a coating of a glaze of whatever going on. So let's go. That was a long time spent on that because that was a big decision to me. That was a big decision. I have a feeling I'm gonna like this more milked than the Chex. Yeah. Okay. You know how I said like 10 minutes ago, if I had to eat any of the cereals for breakfast every day for a week, I would probably choose the Chex. Still true. However, between this and the apple cinnamon Cheerios, I'm going with the apple cinnamon Cheerios. And I'm not even I'm not like a Chex hater either. It's not even really that. It's just these feel right. It does feel lighter than this. But that's because Chex feel lighter than this. So if you want that lightness with the airiness, you hit the Chex. If you want the hearty, full oats, Cheerios. That's really all it comes down to. I think they're both good. They both offer slightly different things, but they both do it well. They both do it well. Slightly more annoying to eat Cheerios, I will say, because they're so small. But that's not what we're really talking about here. I'm just gonna. Is that crazy? Is that crazy? You know what? Should Apple Cinnamon Chex be less than Frosted Flakes than Apple Jacks with milk? That's not right. You know what? No, this is what we. All right, reevaluate again. 8, 9, not 89. That's a little too much. Just clearly better than everyone. We've hit all of the cinnamons. for today. We have one cereal left for today. And it is something that you may have had for a snack before, like apples or cinnamon or apples with cinnamon. This is a stretch segue. That's right. Dippin Dots has a cereal. Yeah, Dippin Dots, the ice cream of the future. You may have heard of it. You may have seen it. You may have been to an amusement park and seen it. I feel like that's the only place I've ever seen it, is at an amusement park or something like that. Cookies and cream, new and improved flavor. I'll get to that in a moment. What does that mean? Well, here's your cereal history for today. Again, Dippin Dots had a cereal of cookies and cream before, in 2018, and this was the box. And you may notice, if you're paying attention, what is this? What is that? That is like it's a little extra chocolate cluster type of thing, along with the, chocolate and vanilla supposed puffs. Whereas this cereal is new and improved, and you can see that it just has the puffs and does not have those clusters, which is interesting. Now, I will also add, for some extra color, along with this flavor, this year or whatever it was, there was a second flavor that came out, birthday cake. Not my kind of thing, and I never found this anyway. Also, apparently, back in 2018, when the original cookies and cream came out, there was also a banana split flavor. I was asked to show it off. You take the spoon, you have your cereal, you stick it under the flap, slide, perfect open every time. Now, if you know me, you would know that I'm not usually a chocolate cereal guy. Not really my thing. First, I'm gonna do a combined handful, and then I'm gonna have them separate and see if they're actually different flavored or if it's just one thing. The combined handful was good. It definitely felt like vanilla-y, but also chocolatey. So now I'm just gonna have a couple of the chocolate pieces. Okay. They tasted chocolatey. Now let's have some of the vanilla pieces. It's really hard to tell, but also my tongue might just be overloaded at this point. And it might just be like bias effect where I'm choosing the brown one, so like my brain is tricking me to think it tastes chocolatey even more than it is. They kind of both taste chocolatey though. Dry chocolate, never really been my thing, though I guess if that is your thing, maybe you would like it, so I'll give it a 4. I just feel like dry chocolate cereal, like, what, is that a thing people ever eat? Is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing. Let's get the goddamn milk in. There's a lot less chocolatey flavor. Apple cinnamon Cheerios definitely were the best so far. But in terms of what it's trying to do, which is be, cookies and cream, with the milk, again, it's always tough when you get to the end because my tongue's probably overloaded at this point. But I feel as though if you're trying to have an ice cream and you want chocolate flavor, I don't think this is gonna beat out a traditional option. If you're going for pure chocolate flavor, Cocoa Puffs is probably gonna be better than this. I don't think it's probably gonna be an option where someone will have this and be like, wow, this is great. I definitely want to make sure I have more of this because it's really not special. It's really not. And my score probably will be slightly unfair because I'm not a chocolate cereal guy anyway. But I think I'll just give it like either a 4.5 or a 5. I'm not even sure. You gotta, it's not a, if you're putting milk in, that's already practically cream in a way, right? So you gotta really hit that cookie flavor, and I don't think they did. I think my ratings are a little bit weird today. This time around have skewed downwards, been less optimistic. The Space Jam and the Ghostbusters, boring. Movie, cereals, whack. The Apple Cinnamon Chex and Apple Cinnamon Cheerios are the all-stars for today, for sure. For sure. These two are both good, And they do what they do slightly different. So that's that. I think that sums up the cereal stream for today.